Well, we're back, baby. Greetings and salutations, everyone, one and all, to another episode of Career Retrospectives right here on the Super Review Show Network. I am joined by my two incredible friends, Kyle and Mike. What's going on, guys?
Hey, what's up?
Yes.
Yo, we're back and ready
Yes.
to review.
Ready to review. So I want to just say from the very top of the show, I have been tied up. I said this on my other show that I do, Mixed Bag. We haven't done this in about a month. It's been a very hectic month for me and whatnot, and for Kyle as well. First things first, this guy down here, Kyle Q, is now officially married. He's officially a husband. I'm going to give a nice round of applause for that. The wedding was great. It was awesome.
Amen.
Yeah, and thank you for inviting us too, man.
Of course, it was a good time. Mosh pits.
We're gonna cut the highlights of the wedding at the end of the video. Stay tuned.
JT, better get your video editing back on.
Oh yeah. So and multiple people are going to share the screen. Don't worry. It was an incredible wedding. We had a fun time seeing Kyle and his now wife Christina get married. It was a great time had by all. But we are back here on with Career Retrospectives, talking about Asking Alexandria. Where do we go from here? Their most recent release. For those of you who have been around for a block with us for a while now, we did a career discography breakdown of them back in November of 2022 for Kyle's birthday. So, but we're going to get into it now. We're going to talk about their latest release. Where do we go from here? So, in true home metalcore fashion, I'm going to start this one off tonight. As we always do whenever we do a crazy metalcore album.
Any other way.
Yes, we would not have it any other way, with me just leading us off tonight with talking about a metalcore album, which is we all know is my favorite thing in the world to talk about. Mike's so happy right now. He's like, I'm so excited to see.
I know. I love seeing you tortured. I mean, you challenged by this musical genre, and I just want to see what you got to say. So that
fully in reverse
all,
is great,
all things considered, there's not much screaming on this one, so who knows?
Hey,
might surprise us today.
You know, it's funny you guys say that, because when we first agreed to do this back when it first came out, it was back in what? It came out in August of this year.
August, yeah.
August 25th it came out this year. And first things first, I was like, all right. We listened to their whole career, all their albums beforehand. Going into that, I was like, I'm not sure what to expect. It could be something, it could be like a House on Fire, it could be like Stand Up and Scream. I'm not sure what's going to happen here. But I have to say, this was no. Actually, I really enjoyed this one. I'm not gonna lie, guys. I actually had a really good time with this. The past few weeks, I've been listening to it several times over just to refresh my memory, just to soak in the songs, soak in the music, and really come to terms with what who Asking Alexandria is as a band in 2023 and moving forward. This was I'm gonna get into my track list in a second. I just want to say, there was less screams on here, which actually was a bit of a joyful thing for me. If I'm being honest.
More than their last two.
Yes. No, you're absolutely right though. Yes, I will say that. Yeah, there was more than last time, but at first I was like, all right, it sounds like some of the previous. It's still the same band and whatnot, but at the same time, it was a fresh new take. I enjoyed everything for the most part of what I heard. I mean, there was a couple tracks I went back to more instead of just listening to the album from start to finish. I started to go back to certain tracks more and more as time went on. And this just comes as no surprise. The title track is phenomenal. I have to say that.
Oh, here we go. We're back.
Well, I don't disagree with him this time, Mike.
Okay,
how far off this time?
But I mean, I will say the title track was enjoyable for me, and I do go back to that quite a bit sometimes. But let me just go through my track listing here for a minute here. We got Bad Blood, Things Could Be Different, Let Go, Psycho. I'll get to that in a second too. Dark Void, Nothing Left, Feel, Let the Dead Take Me, Kill It With Fire, Holding On to Something More, and where do we go from here? Right off the bat, the two strongest ones that I've gone back to more than I thought, and you both should be very proud of me. I added some into some of my playlists. I'm round of applause.
Hey.
Right? Hey. Yes. Psycho is great. I really enjoy that track a lot, actually, more than I thought I would. It grew on me the past few weeks, which I was really happy about.
And, Number one on the rock charts.
Is it really right now?
Yeah, recently hit that.
Nice. Well, there you
Wow.
go. It shows you something right there. And the title track, of course, if you listen to us any period of time, the title track, I'm a title track sucker. I love me a good title track. But where do we go from here? It just there's something about like when I first saw the title, where do we go from here? And I noticed it was the last track. I was like, all right, they're probably gonna end on like a really bombastic, super hardcore metalcore note. But we didn't get that with that last track there. We actually we started off with an acoustic guitar, and it slowly built up towards the end of the song as a big finale, if you will, to the record. And that was something that actually really, the more I listened to it, the more I realized, it's got some really good stuff in it. Obviously, Psycho is one of them, of course. But my other standout track, hands down, is Where Do We Go From Here? I like it. I've always been a fan of when albums end their record on like a really strong note. Like it might start off slow, it might start off on acoustic guitar, piano, whatever, but it ended on such a incredible like note, literally, just of like that build up towards the end. It was just so great, and I really did enjoy Where Do We Go From the title track. But I can't shy away from Psycho. Psycho was just a rocking song, man. It was so great. I went back to that more and more as time went on. So, and it was like, and this is kind of if those of you who remember our breakdown we did back in November of 2022, this was a band that I first was like, I watched our reaction to it because I cut up our show into segments on YouTube and whatnot about individual segments of our show on YouTube. And you don't have to just watch us for an hour and 20 minutes. You can actually watch us for like 7 or 8 minutes to just talk about one album or one cut of something. So I do that for a lot of our shows. It's a lot of work, but I do it. And I remember watching just before we started, just to refresh my memory a little bit about how I felt about this band going into our stream tonight. I was like, I wanted to just see where I was a year ago, and now like 11 months later, I'm like, oh my god, I really did not like Stand Up and Scream at all. I was like tremoring on camera. I remember I was like, I could not stop laughing, and I was so like, I can't believe a human being can make a noise like this. Like I was going crazy.
But you liked it more than you liked Bring Me the Horizons, Count Your Blessings, though. That's for sure.
Yes, that is that. That's not good. Let's not go there. Let's not go there. That was a very mixed feeling right there. No, but this one though, I did feel really good about this record. This was actually, and the critic reviews have been jumping off the page a little bit more for me. I read through a couple critic reviews of it as well, but overall, it's a very solid record. It is less screaming, as Kyle said from the top of the show. It is less screaming than I thought they would have, being that they're like, they're asking Alexandria, they're a huge metalcore band, they're a big deathcore band, whatever. But the more I listened to it, I was like, this actually got some really good stuff on it. I'm really glad that I was able to listen to it all the way through several times over. And the more times I listened to it, the more tracks I got. It was Psycho. I kept going back to Psycho, and I kept going back to the title track, and just really solid metal songs that I would go back to. And I can't believe I'm going to say this. I got two good friends of mine who are not here on our podcast tonight, but they saw Asking Alexandria open up for a Mongolian death metal band called The Who, not The Who, WHO.
The latest co-headliner.
Yeah.
Yep.
They saw them actually at Terminal 5 down in the city, in New York City, and they open up for them. I'm like, you know what? Maybe I would go see them. I'm on the fence. Give me some time, but I have to see, of course. But Mike did promise me that he would drag me to a metal show at some point. So that's on the radar at some point. But overall, really solid album. I enjoyed what I heard more than I thought I would. Because going into it, I was like, I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I'm not sure if it's going to be good or not. This is a very solid record. I'm actually going to go with originally I had like a 6.5 out of 10. I'm actually going a tad bit higher. I'm going to a 6.85 out of 10. There was some things I liked, but the reason why it's a lower than I thought it was going to be was because I still have not. I have not listened to them since we did our discography breakdown 11 months ago. I have not really listened to them that much since then. But this is a nice refresher of the genre, a nice refresher of them as a band. And I have to say, for 39 minutes of being entertained, I had a good time. So, got to admit, it was screw it. We're going up to 7 out of 10. We're going with 7 out of 10 right there. Sorry, I had to bump it up a little more. I'm feeling pretty good today. Feeling pretty good. 7 out of 10 for me. For Where Do We Go From Here from Asking Alexandria. That is my rating. That is my breakdown of my track listening. So, who wants to go next?
I can take it
man,
away
you want
from
to
here. Yeah,
What'd you say?
I'll
Are you
take it
going?
away from here. Yeah,
All
All
right,
right,
okay,
go.
man, go for it.
go. Ow, hit my leg against my desk. Anyway, going into this one was interesting for me because the way that they marketed this one, for anyone that doesn't follow them, they're nowhere near as big as they were in their peak. That's for sure. This album, I think, only sold about 2,000 or so in the first week sales, which if you compare that to their other albums years ago, they used to chart on the Billboard Top 100. You know, you got big decline in popularity there, but they've remained one of my favorites. But they were teasing this one going into it as this album's for the fans of us, our longtime fans. It's gonna have heavy stuff in there. I didn't fall for that. I knew they weren't gonna go back to what they did. What I didn't expect though was for it to be such a step up from the last two records. So, Like a House on Fire, as much as I'm a bit of a defender for that album, I still to this day think that the main issue with that is that it was too bloated. So the mediocre to bad songs really weighed down the good ones. Then the one after that was just a bit generic. This one, huge step up. This should have been what preceded those two. And then I feel like the transition into what those two other albums were would have been a little bit less jarring. Best produced record they've had in a while. The production on this is awesome. JT, go back to that track list. There's a lot of just straight 10 out of 10s for me on this one, to be honest. Bad Blood, incredible way to kick off the album. Really energetic. Can see that one going over really well live. Things could be different. Also a straight 10 out of 10 from me. Only critique, if any, but it's nothing against the song itself, is it does sound a little bit similar to one of the songs from their last album. The name is escaping me right now, and I don't know why. I'll have to look it up later. But similar sound to it, but it's really great. Where I deviate from some people here is on Let Go. This is my least favorite on the album. It's still a good song. This is still a 7 out of 10 for me. I don't think there's a single bad song on this record. This one's just not the greatest. It has potential, but I feel like it never hits the strides it's going for. And then we get into Psycho, which I guess I also deviate from people on a bit. And it's not one of my favorites on the record. I think it's still well done. And when I say not favorites, it's still like 8 or 9 territory here. There's not a single mediocre to bad song on here, I don't think. But I'm kind of shocked, JT, that you like this one so much, because I remember you did not like a House on Fire, and this song has that album written all over it. You could place this anywhere on that record and it would fit right in. Right down to like some hip hop, like in like hip hop style, like trap beats in the some of the verses there. Not too heavily, but it's definitely there. Like I said, it's another number one mainstream rock song for them, which is great. Love that for them. Hopefully it'll give them an uptick for the next record whenever that comes. I know they're already starting to work on it. Dark Void, lead single here. When I first heard this, it was sitting at like an 8 or a 9. But the more I heard it, the more I liked it. This is another straight 10 out of 10 here. Really love the breakdown in there. Love what they did with the chorus. Really great track. Really good lead single. I think is the best lead single they've had in a while. Nothing Left. Another 10 out of 10. Love the breakdown that kind of sneaks in at the end there. And that's one thing I really like about the record in general, is every time they have a breakdown, it's not necessarily a by the books, like you feel it coming, okay, here's the breakdown. It kind of sneaks up and it comes in at the end. And I actually really like that. It's, if you compare it to like Stand Up and Scream, where it's like, okay, here's where the breakdown comes in. It's coming. In a lot of these tracks, you're like, this song's not gonna have a breakdown. And then at the end, they're like, actually, no, here's a little bit of breakdown for you. It's not gonna be anything too crazy, but it's enough to kind of get your fix of that little metalcore essence that they did bring back a little bit. I still don't know if I would consider this a straight metalcore record. It's probably still more hard rock leaning than anything, which brings me into Feel. Second least favorite track on the record, 8 out of 10. It's not bad.
8 out of 10 is your secondly.
Yeah.
Wow. Boy,
Yeah,
you're being hard
I
on this.
really love this album. This is my album of the year so far. There is one that came out recently that might top this, but I'll keep that a surprise, but we'll see. I've only had a little bit of time to sit with that one. But yeah, after having about, what's it been, 2 months, almost 3 months now to sit with this one, it hasn't gone down in its rankings. It's stayed pretty much on top there. Let the Dead Take Me, one of my favorite songs they've done in a while, because it goes away from that straight like mainstream rock sound, but also not directly into that metalcore sound either. Kind of has like this creepy circus vibe going on. Really dig that. Kill It With Fire, not an Alexandria song. That's a weird addition. I really do like the hardcore influence on that one though. I'm curious to see what Mike has to say on that. But that is interesting to me because Ben Bruce, the guitarist, had a side project that's supposed to come out years ago. I think like pre-COVID times or like right around that time. That was supposed to be a punk band with Matt Good called Kill It With Fire. So considering it's Ben Bruce also on the vocals, which to me is the only thing that brings it down, is if you put Danny on that song and had him do like screaming or like his low growls on there, I think it would have been elevated more. It's just a little bit jarring in context of the album where it is. Holding on to Something More, best chorus on the album. That chorus is absolutely massive. It's an emotional track, really good. And then to round out the album with Where Do We Go From Here? If I'm gonna be honest, if they keep up this style, probably up. I think one of the main reasons this album didn't sell well is the failure of the last two, and then the horrendous promotion from I think they're on Better Noise Records, something like that. JT, you want to check that up there? It says, yeah, Better Noise. Terrible. If you were not a follower of this band, you would not have known this was coming out. Whereas back when they were on Sumerian, which you can say all you want about how terrible they were, that Sumerian is not a great label. They did Ask Alexandria pretty dirty, quite a lot. But, they were all over the place then. Now, like I said, if you didn't follow them actively, can guarantee you, Mike, I bet you, JT, I doubt would because he doesn't follow like the metalcore pages or anything. But Mike, can you honestly say you saw any advertisement for this record?
No,
outside of me saying it. Exactly.
Yeah. Nope.
Which is a shame because I think that out of the things that they've done in recent years, this tops it. Would I put it in line with their best 3 albums? Those first 3, those first 3 albums is one of the best 3 runs of any metalcore band that I'm a fan of. Like they were just top tier albums.
I didn't see a lot of like YouTube reactions to it either, or like anything like that. Generally see like Facebook ads or YouTube reactions, or
yeah. I mean, I think Nick Nocturnal did one for Dark Void.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he was that into it, which is fine. But I think, again, when I watched his video, a lot of it came down to the way that the band tried to market it as, because when they teased that song, they teased just part of the breakdown. And they were like, you get ready for the heavy stuff. And then nothing on here was really that heavy, which to me is fine. I don't need something to be heavy. I just need it to be well written and good. And I think that's what we got here. But yeah, that final track, super emotional track. I love how it just kind of builds toward that big bombastic ending there. Very well done. Looking forward to what they're going to do next. I gave this one probably 9.25 out of 10 total. Love this record. Album of the year so far.
Nice.
It all comes down to Mike.
Why does it always come down to Mike? Jeez. Oh yeah. Where do I go from here? Is the question. Yeah. So
to a 10 out of 10.
You shut your mouth. All right. It's not a surprise or a shock that I've never been a fan of Asking Alexandria. Where they're not obviously the worst band out there. They're, they've also never, in my opinion, have breached that kind of wall between a band who I feel has a certain distinctive style that no other band has pretty much done before, or at least become the pioneers of it. They've definitely, I
Well,
cannot deny.
I will argue that for their original stuff, that first album, the amount of copycat bands that spawned. So if you
Yeah.
didn't follow them right from the beginning, I could see why you would feel that way. But
Mhm.
they were kind of the pioneers of that style.
Yeah, which maybe I like the people that took from their style and left everything else.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to. I could be guilty of that. So, kind of coming into this, I definitely didn't have the highest of expectations, and I definitely was met with an interesting kind of conundrum. It was just unsure of which direction they want to they're going in, the heavier direction, the more poppy direction, how they're mixing it all together, and how if it's mixed together well. And that's the big question there. So just going straight down the line, we got Bad Blood coming in at 6 out of 10. I didn't really like the blast beats going on in here. I felt they were out of place. I thought they were interesting, but also just out of place. And I also feel like one big theme that happens over this whole album, and it happens with the last 3 albums of their discography, is his singing does not fit in with this style of harder rock. It feels attached to kind of the pop world and leaving behind some of the vocal stylings that people in the hard rock genre, the style of vocals they use, leaving behind those things, which could come off as like a pretty progressive or like maybe out of place thing that could kind of challenge the listener. But in a lot of ways, it feels like it's still holding on to some of the typical vocal kind of offering that you hear in the pop world. And it just, for me, it leaves me a little disjointed with a hard rock album. So that definitely sat with me on Bad Blood, but not a terrible song. Just it definitely kind of set me up for what was to come next. So, but then I'm met with like one of the second best songs on this album, in my opinion, which was "Things Could Be Different." You guys said, I said 7.5. I could even go 8, depending. I'm gonna stay with a 7.5 for now. I really like the heaviness of the song. I really like the kind of the beat of this song, and that's another number 2 issue with this album. Is this album, the songs of this album refuse to change their beat. Like, we don't get any thrashy kind of songs. We don't get any kind of like they all stay within a certain groove. They stay in the comfort zone. They definitely don't try anything dangerous, and that can be a bad thing for this album. And they kind of all do the same thing. And this was one of those kind of songs that I felt, Things Could Be Different had a different kind of thing going on. Things could be different. I really like the change of momentum.
I remembered, I just looked at the track list from their last album. Things Could Be Different sounds incredibly like Never Gonna Learn from See What's on the Inside. Very similar.
I'm gonna have to look back in that and check in on that. That's interesting.
I'm curious if you'll have to let me know separately if that influences your take on the song at all, because they're very similar.
I'm actually gonna have to check that out now. This album suffers from a lack of song development in a lot of areas, but it also doesn't completely leave itself empty on the front end. So it builds that song, but it doesn't know how to close the deal. So its openings and its starts are good. It's just like, where do we go from here? Then we move on to Let Go. I could agree with you that this song is pretty run of the mill. I do like the atmospheric quality of it. I do like the the flowing kind of like spacey feel. I am a sucker for spacey atmospheric songs on albums. They're kind of a guilty pleasure. I don't necessarily wave them as a flag like, hey, this is a great song. I almost put them in a category of, if I'm driving and I'm in a place where I'm kind of just letting my mind drift, so to speak, this song fits in with that, which sounds like a terrible compliment. Hey, if you're not thinking of anything and you don't pay attention, this is a great song. No, that's a terrible way to say a song is good. But it does have a very kind of atmospheric and, that kind of a style to it. And wherein that is good, it doesn't have much else in it. It's just like a skeleton with no flesh on it. So I'd give it a 5 out of 10, straight down the middle. Like, don't hate it, don't love it. And then we move on to my least favorite song on the album. JT and Kyle could probably have predicted this. Is Psycho. Sorry, JT. I know you were big on this one, but
I'm astounded that this is your least favorite, Mike. No way.
Even I am astounded.
It's actually not my least. It's not my least favorite. But it's. I'm sorry. It's my second least favorite. I'll get into what my least favorite is. Yeah. It's 3 out of 5. This is Justin Timberlake on metal. I'm sorry. The hip hop breaks are just jarring. It doesn't flow. It feels out of it. They do this stop go thing, like where the beats are like. It almost reminds me of a club song, but like a bad club song. But like, just I don't like the layering of the vocals. Like, it's just trying to be something that doesn't work for this album. So, and I just hate the lyrics. Overall, it's just 3 out of 5, 3.5 out of 10. Moving on from that one. So then we go to Dark Void. This is a song I actually listened to originally and liked a lot more. And then as I listened to it, I started liking it less and less. It actually did not grow on me. Started to sound the same. Started hard to keep interest in the song, and it felt very generic, boring, underwhelming chorus. Overall, I remember listening to this in the car with Kyle actually, and going, wow, like I think I gave it like a 7.5 out of 10. And then like as I listened to it a second time, it was like 6, and then it was 5, and it kind of settled there. Just kind of like, don't love it, don't hate it. It's just a void. It's a dark void. So kind of moving on through to Nothing Left, 5 out of 10. I'm settling in that number. It feels like I when I'm listening to it, I just don't dislike it, but also I'm like, waiting for the next part. Just uninteresting chorus here as well. Starting to just blend together, like same kind of thing. Then you go back to Feel. This one was repetitive for me. It didn't flow with its hard parts. It kind of suffered from that. And that was kind of where I came in with this band is not committing to one side or the other. They're trying to appeal or appease their fan base with some hard kind of offering, but it feels like an afterthought. It doesn't feel organic. It doesn't feel sincere. It feels like, hey guys, we're doing one for the fans and we're gonna go hard again so that sounds horrible. And basically sorry guys.
That's pretty much what they did though.
Our show just went into a strange direction, but
that's what she said.
Yeah,
This supposed to encapsulate every era of the band was what they were going for.
And that's what exactly it. It feels too aware of itself. It feels like someone who sat down and went, all right, so we got to do this and we got to do that and we got to do this and it didn't feel like, hey, we're just gonna let it rip, boom, and what happens happens, and however what's happening in here is going on out here. Like, no, it felt too like rock by the numbers in a lot of ways, and it can really be exposed by how little it does the thing that it's trying to do instead of just doing it to its content. It's just felt like turn on, turn off. Here's your pop. Here's your, So just moving on to Let the Dead Take Me. This one was strange. 4 out of 10. The la la la's in the background. The weird kind of just felt like they were going in a different direction of maturity here. Like almost like, how long have you been a band and like you're putting out a weird song like this? It's just like weird. I just don't understand sometimes the weird songs towards the end of albums, and that leads me into my least favorite song of the album is "Kill It with Fire." And the reason why it's my least favorite song is because it's one of those songs a band does. They're having fun and they're like, hey, let's put out a minute long song, which most punk songs are a minute and a half to 2 minutes tops, let's be honest. And the ones that are longer are influenced by many other genres of music. The ones that are a minute are purposefully quick, and they're purposefully uh crude. And like, while I do think that's cool, this one felt like, hey, we're like gonna put out a song that's just gonna be screaming and shrieking and awful, and we're edgy, and Kill It With Fire. And like, now, while if it's an homage to a band the guy had, that doesn't kind of involve me, and like the fans get the nod, I don't get the nod because I'm not aware of the history of the band. I just hear it as like, hey, we're trying to kind of come off as like off the wall and unpredictable, and while they are trying to do that, it just comes to me as like just cringy. So yeah, 2 out of 10 for that one. Holding on to something more. It was an okay song. It was one of the better songs of the whole album, alongside Bad Blood. Chorus was, like, I agree with Kyle. Chorus was good, and it helped this song for sure. If there's anything I am, it's a huge fan of choruses, and a album that has underwhelming choruses can be an absolute destroyer for me, unfortunately. And this one did not disappoint, but it also didn't blow me away. 6.5 out of 10, possibly 7. Like I said, I'm only reviewing this album with a short period of time. And when I say short period of time, I don't mean, hey, I listened to it for 3 months. My idea of listening to an album and truly gaining perspective on it is listening to the album for years and years and years. Unfortunately, that's where I'm at. I may not truly understand an album until it could be 3 years. That's just how music is. It takes time to truly understand. And then we get into my most favorite song on the album is "Where Do We Go From Here." I am a title track guy here. This is a great, this is what they should be doing. And as much as I don't like the quieter style, I feel that their songwriting here, their attention to the details and the nuances of the song come into play here. Great transitions. I like how it builds, just like Kyle said. I like how it builds from the quiet to the rock, and it all brings it back in. The lyrics are very they're meaningful. It is a good effort, and that's another major thing that annoys me about this album is this guy does not know how to swear effectively. He just throws swear words out there as many times as he can in a row, and it just comes off dumb. And Kyle knows me on that. Like, I do not like bands who just like, there's only one band that can get away with that, is Slipknot. They curse like very like almost like in a rapping style, and it works for them. But when I hear another band try to pull that off, they better do it great, or I am just shutting this thing down. And this guy does not know how to swear as an emphasis. He's just swearing for the sake of swearing. So to wrap it all up, where do we go from here? Is this a question the band is asking itself in regards to its musical style, its passion, or perhaps the direction of the music scene? In a lot of ways, it feels uncommitted to the harder style that they're holding on to, and at this point feels like nostalgia rather than expansion and incorporation into their evolving sound. Clocking in at a just shy of an anemic 40 minutes, I thought the album just blazed by for me. At times I was just like, oh, it's over already? Because a lot of the songs sounded the same. And when they did change up, I was like, oh, wow, I'm aware of the album happening again. But once it started sounding the same, it all breezed by very quickly. Yeah, they didn't change direction beat wise very much. And then just overall, even those choruses that we all look forward to couldn't kind of lead the song or salvage the journey it took to get there. Sometimes it's like, hey, how did I get to this great chorus? Was it worth that journey? And sometimes it just wasn't. So yeah, So, and another thing I also just was kind of bugged by was the guitar seemed drony at times. They didn't have that metallic sharpness I prefer in like a riffing on an album. Very kind of background kind of drone feel to them. And that kind of stuff, it feels less metal and more rock. So I could see the direction that they wanted to go for that. So overall, 5 out of 10. I was gonna go 4.5 out of 10, but I was like, you know what? It's sitting straight down the middle for me. It's a 5 out of 10. Don't hate it, don't love it. It's one of in my eyes, it's, you could put it in there with any of their not their newest albums, but like those albums that sat right after they kind of came down off of the mountain peak of the heavy metal band and into this kind of gray area of rock and pop, and that they kind of settled into. It feels very comfortable. And where do we go from here? We'll have to see what's on the horizon.
Wow. I just want to say Kyle's face through all of Mike's breakdown was like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Your face was priceless the whole time.
I break Kyle's heart so many times that
no. I kind of expected it. Me and Mike had discussed this one about a month ago.
Yes.
So I kind of expected that. What I didn't expect was Mike to be the villain. Oh, JT was going to take that.
Yeah, JT. Gee, sheesh. Come on. Don't make me. I gotta have some time off from. I have a 2 weeks vacation as part of my pension here at the
Super Review Show.
Yeah, 4 weeks. 17 weeks, and I require time off from being a villain, and it's not fair to have to work on my vacation. So, yeah.
Oh my god.
Jeez.
Well, that's gonna do it for us, guys, right?
That's it. That's all we can do. Do we spin the wheel or we not? I don't remember.
Do we want to spin the wheel or not? Up to you.
We can spin the wheel this week, or we can spin the wheel for this week or for next week, and then we'll do the new Blink album the week after that.
I was gonna say, if we spin the wheel for this week, I am not prepared, man, because it's we gotta listen to it.
I'm not ready.
I'm also not prepared. So no, we'll spin the wheel for this for next week. And then the week after that, we'll do the new Blink album that comes out to give us about a week or two to sit with that.
Yeah, definitely. So we are spinning the wheel, though, right?
Yep.
Okay, go ahead. You're ready to share whenever you're ready.
Sharing is caring, my friend.
Share.
I forgot what was on the wheel.
I thought you were gonna say something else for 3 seconds. I was like, wait, is he saying sharing is for holding your bro job or whatever?
I'm sorry.
Oh my god, Mike.
Yes.
Oh
I just want to say real quick.
Yes.
We have spun the wheel how many times now? all 3 of my editions have not been picked.
The wheel is a cruel mistress, my friend.
The wheel,
God.
That's
so
funny. Yeah.
Those who are listening to us, next week's pick after we spun the wheel landed on
the Lady Killer album.
CeeLo Green's The Lady Killer with Forget You on it.
This was my pick. So yeah, surprisingly, people will think, "Oh, he's the metal guy."
You better not be leading me astray with this.
Well, we'll see. I don't have to be the villain, so I get to take my vacation. So I'm on vacation.
It's a solid 11 out of 10 album right there for Mike.
Solid 11. That's right.
Sheesh. Well, listen, we want to thank you all for watching, listening, however you enjoyed us tonight. Don't forget to tune in next week on Monday, because we recorded this on Tuesday this week. No, because I was in Colorado for a wedding on my birthday, which is crazy. But yeah, so
I notice your eyes. You're like Rocky Mountain High a little bit. You need to clear that up, man.
I was in Colorado where all the weed is. So it's all good. All the weed was at the wedding. No, I'm just kidding. Sheesh. No, but for real, next week, you heard it here first. You heard it right here. We're gonna be reviewing CeeLo Green's The Lady Killer. That was on the wheel. after all this time. So, anyways, we're gonna go. That's gonna be our show next week, and then after that, we'll do Blink-182. So it's good to be back once again. I know we've had a busy couple of weeks with the Kyle's wedding and my very sad passing of my grandfather, but we're all back. We're back here again. You know, we're back. Tell a friend, whatever. Sorry, that's terrible. But listen, we want to thank you all for watching, listening. However, you enjoyed us tonight. Sound off in the comment section below. Share us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever, or X, whatever it's called. I don't even know. But just thank you so much for watching. And yeah, exactly. And but for all of us here at the Super Review Show, stay safe, take care, and be awesome.